of the levels and paths, and thus swiftly attain the state of Vajradhara. And let's just do the four and sorry. Let's just do the four contemplation. All sorts of things that my computer is doing. Oh God, just put it there. What? Won't do it. I don't know what it is doing. Honestly, I don't.
I can see it for limitless contemplations on my screen.
No, I can't see, Bobby. I can't even see you all now. It's gone off completely. I don't know if it's my computer doing very strange things because I left it here.
In the sun. Yeah.
No. I didn't leave it in the sun, but I left it. I just want to, and these iCloud is giving me, tells me to agree, but then it doesn't allow me to do it. I just can't understand what to do. It won't let me do it. Hang on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Is this being recorded yet?
Yeah, it is. That's the problem. Is being recorded. I'll have to tell it. I don't know what to do. I don't know. Let's start again. Hang on a moment. I'm going to start again. It's doing all kinds of things. Okay, I'm back on, guys.
Okay, good.
Oh, I don't know what it's doing. It's doing all funny things. I shouldn't have upgraded it last night. Okay, let's go. May all beings have happiness and create the causes of happiness. May they all be free from suffering and creating the causes of suffering. May they find that noble happiness which can never be tainted by suffering. May they attain universal impartial compassion, free of worldly bias towards friends and enemies. Sem jendam je dewatang dewe jutang den pa jutik, dungal tang chitu trawa jutik, dungal mepe dewa tampatang mindrawa jutik, nearing chaktang nitandrawe tangnong chempo lane pa jutik. Okay, so if I can find the file. Sorry, it's really disorganized, and I don't know what it is, but it keeps asking me to update things. So I updated them before I went to bed last night, and now it's doing all kinds of funny things. It tells me to agree, and then it doesn't give me the label that makes it agreeable. So what a mess. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's go to our last session today of the copper-colored mountain as self-vision. Now, last night when I was looking at this, and this morning, and Tatiana, I'm happy to see you as well today. When I was looking at this, I thought to myself, what do I do tomorrow morning? Because there is so much teaching here. There is so much to learn. It's unbelievable. And I really, really think that with so much to learn, it's important not to rush through this in any kind of way. It's important to take our time with this, because a lot of you said to me, you're going home, you're listening to it again, and there's lots and lots of stuff to learn. Not only about going to the copper-colored mountain, but the copper-colored mountain is inside you. And Guru Rinpoche is inside you. It's not a being out there. You can use him as a being out there if you need to. But he is absolutely and totally within you. He's the most important thing. And the copper-colored mountain, if you look at it, especially, you see, on the one hand, it's an external pure land. On the other hand, it's an internal whole thing of you. So everything on the copper-colored mountain, it's 3 different levels, from the bottom level of Nirmanakaya to the next level of Sambhogakaya to the top level of Dharmakaya, is how you are. So once you get that it's you, the whole thing changes, because then you're not rushing to get it. Every single teaching of every verse that Jigme Lingpa gives, and I've asked you to do this prayer every day, or at least a couple of times a week, that you really know it. But when you look at Jigme Lingpa and you look at what he's trying to do, he's trying to say to you, this is the way to attain enlightenment. I'm giving you each thing. And if you understand the copper-colored mountain, it's like what I was saying before we started this session. What we're seeing in the war, in the hatred, in the angers, is all coming from a collective mind that has reflected this ugly thing. Because if you ask any of the masters who are enlightened, what do they see? They can certainly see what we see, but they aren't there. They're not stuck in that perception. They go to a pure perception. And a pure perception, this is a different thing that's playing out. Now we can take that for ourselves. If we are in a difficult situation, if we were enlightened, we wouldn't worry about our physical situation in any way. We would just see it in a different way, as an opportunity to clear ourselves and get ourselves right. But because we see it in that way, we hooked into it, we hold on to it. And that's what's so important here. So what I thought was, first of all, it's quite a strange thing. Either one feels such an instant connection to the whole mandala of Guru Rinpoche, or not. Okay, either you feel it or you don't. Okay, very logical people that use only their human minds and their intellect might find it very difficult to relate to all the stories of Guru Rinpoche, because they're often supernatural, crazy, preposterous, not possible according to the logic of our human intellect conditioned mind. But if everything is a creation of our mind, sorry, my back, you too. If everything is a creation of our mind, so we can create anything and use it. And I remember Zongsa saying that this wonderful master, his students were thirsty, and he drew this cow on the board. And not only did he draw the cow on the board, but he drew nourishment from the cow. Okay, now think about that. You all go with your logical, oh, rubbish. How could you possibly? He could get that because he creates it, and then he creates the milk, and then he creates the quenching of thirst with his own mind. We can create whatever we want. When we've got terrible circumstances, it's really us. We've created those circumstances. And so if you look at that, or you look at Milarepa when he was walking, and suddenly there was a hailstorm, and he told his disciple Rinpoche, put the horn down, and he climbed into the horn. And he was happily sitting, singing songs in the middle of the horn. And Rinpoche said, getting hit by the hailstones, but you're much bigger than the horn. He said, well, that's a matter of how you think. I saw myself as small and went into the yak horn. So some of you can run off and jump over, and I am jumping over. And if you want me to go back next year and do some ordinary psychological things and how it applies to Buddhism, I'm very happy to do it. But my evening groups, I'm doing more of that in my evening groups than I am in the morning group. But your little faces inspire me to do what I really feel to do, which is jump over the river. And we still have a lot of verses to study, and they are the ones that get deeper and deeper. And I think that let's study a few, and the epilogue still next year. I'll call it maybe something different so that if people want to come in, they can come in. But always remember that our faith and devotion is the key in being reborn in a pure land. But you can't just have this devotion without devoting regular time to recite prayers and contemplate. So if you're just listening to talks and you're not doing any prayers and you're not doing any practice, it's useless, because basically you're not building up. It's not that you need to do practice. The Buddha said, if I've got the raft and I cross the ocean and I land on the other side of the ocean, what do I do with the raft? What must I do? So when some of them might have said, carry it with you, he said, no, push it back in the ocean and leave it for other people to use to cross. Once you're across, you don't need the prayers and the dedicated things. You just live in that environment. You live in it. And I can see that, like when I go on this trip to London and it's rushed and there's a new baby and there's all sorts of things, I would just adapt my role. But in my mind, I remain absolutely devoted to my prayers. And every morning, no matter what, come hell or high water, that Guru Yoga is practiced by me. Not just practice as rote, but practice. Why? Because the Guru Yoga enters your head, that's your body, enters your speech, enters your mind, and enters all together. And then you've got that whole trend within yourself to walk out into the world. So really, like some of you say to me, do I have to do a long practice? You don't have to do a long practice, but you should start your practice with some devotion, and you can go back in the holidays and do the ones I did on practice. But if you actually start your practice with a little bit of devotion, a little bit of bodhicitta, aspiring to help others and serve others and everything else, and then at least do the Guru Yoga, then you're at least in that state. It's very important. And it doesn't matter what else you've got to do. Just get up that much earlier in order to do it, because it's really very important. So I think that is definitely the very important thing that you see. And then when it comes to the epilogue of the copper-colored mountain, it's all about the three kayas, the three bodies, the three levels of the copper-colored mountain at all different levels. So if you take that in brief, the Dharmakaya doesn't even have characteristics, even though it says that Samantabhadra or Amitabha represent the Dharmakaya, but actually they are nothing, not beings. They are the primordial Buddha, the awakened part of you. And out of that Dharmakaya, out of the empty essence, everything comes. Then the Sambhokakaya, which we were talking about 2 weeks ago, and you can go back and listen, I'll just give you a little bit of that. When we come to the Sambhokakaya, just remember one word: body of enjoyment. I mean, we're all trying to have enjoyment. Kids are trying to have enjoyment. So just remember that one word, the body of enjoyment. Once you can remember that, in the Sambhokakaya of ourselves, also on the mountain, the copper-colored mountain, everything is pure and beautiful. And right now, I can think of nothing better than that. And in the copper-colored mountain, Jigme Lingpa tells us this is the second level, which represents the primordial clarity and lucidity of the mind in a state of enjoyment. You just feel so blissful all the time. You're not looking over your shoulders to see if some terrorist organization's after you. You're in bliss. You're in a pure land of your mind. A pure land isn't there, it's inside you. And emptiness is illuminated in the form of the Sambhokakaya Buddha fields. They appear as light in space, okay, and are always present in our state of consciousness. It's called the luminous nature of awareness, the luminous nature of awareness, which is the pure expression from the essence in luminous form, absolutely luminous form, okay? And the second story of the copper color mountain is utterly beautiful to behold, as it represents all the symbolic ornaments, okay? We talked a little bit about it, but it also represents your awakened speech. When you're able to speak the truth of the Dharma, that is also that second level. And it's always delivered in the form of the Vajrayana and the precepts and practices. So what happens is, it's here in the subtle body. It's right in the throat where you have the speech and the prana. The awakened speech is there. It's right in the throat. And what happens is, if you look at that in your own body, the Dharmakaya is situated in the mind chakra of the subtle body. The Sambhogakaya is situated in the throat chakra. That's where it is in each of the structure. Enjoyment, the speech chakra, where you enjoy the foods and the liquids, go through your throat. And all the energy goes through your throat of not only speech, but when you take things in, it goes through your throat. That's where the Sambhogakaya is. And the body chakra is in the navel. And that's what Jitmalenpa tells us. It's in the navel. The meditation, if you go in the navel, the throat, and the body chakra, and the mind chakra situated in the heart, you've got greed, delusion, and hatred all purified at once, because in the subtle body there's no more greed or passion, which is all the symbolic of the passions and desires we've had. There's no more delusion because we see the truth, and there's no more hatred. So isn't that the solution to all these problems? Where there's no more hatred, there's no more killing, there's no more murdering. And it corresponds to our body, speech, and mind. Once our body, speech, and mind is clear, then we've got everything that we ever need. And in the five, I started this, but let's just look at it once more and then go on to the next verse. But the five perfect certainties of the Sambhogakaya level, if we look at a Pure Land of the Sambhogakaya level, which is really inside us, okay, we see, first of all, the perfect teacher called Buddha Vajradhara. Vajradhara means knowledge holder. Buddha Vajradhara. The place is a Pure Land, beautiful with waters and trees and fruits and everything you could ever imagine. The time is beyond past, present, and future. It's transcended time, so it never has a past or a future or a present. It just always exists. Perfect teachings of the real Vajrayana and the perfect retinue of Buddhas of the five families. So in the Sambhogakaya level, on the second level of the copper-colored mountain, you have Padmapani. You want to call him Chenrezig, that's fine. Padmapani is the perfect beatific form of Chenrezig, and he is right there in these perfect environment. Okay, so if you look at it in yourself, that's what I'm trying to do with these teachings. I'm trying to make you see that you and the copper-colored mountain is in you. This is not something we're describing outside. It's something you're describing in your being, okay? So death, if you look at death, suddenly you see the clear light of the Dharmakaya. You see the dreamless sleep. You see the truth body of the Dharmakaya. It's the dimension of awakening linked to the true mind. The intermediate state in the bardo, if it was clear, is associated with speech, dreaming, and the clarity nature of the Sambhogakaya. And when you have physical birth, you're back. If you had a beautiful physical birth, it's in the Nirmanakaya. When you wake up, and the Nirmanakaya emanates all the realms of samsara. the hell realms, the greedy, hungry ghost realms, the hungry ghost realms, the animal realm. The animals are beautiful mostly, but they haven't got any choices. They can't think. The human realm, I don't have to tell you about how difficult it is. The jealous God realm, people who don't want other people to have what they've got, even though they've earned the right to it. The God realm, where everything's glamorous, but you've still got to come back and do it all over again. So it's really important. The Nirmanakai emanates all of those. And that's what's on the second level of the copper-colored mountain, but it's really inside you. If you understand, if you learn nothing from me this year, but you understand that the Buddha nature is the three kayas that I've just described, and within the three kayas, on the Sambhoga kaya level, you have the 5 wisdoms. And that is how we have to live. Go back in the holidays, because last week, the week before, I did on the Tuesday night, how to apply the 5 wisdoms practically to your life. So instead of hatred and anger, you've got mirror-like wisdom. Instead of pride, you've got the wisdom of equality where everybody is equal. You just begin to understand it. And all I can say to you is, when you begin to understand it, it becomes the most beautiful way of life. I sat with this newborn little baby, and all I did was the mantras and the mantras and the mantras when I got a chance to hold him, which wasn't all that often. But whenever I got a chance to hold him, I was just doing the mantras to him, like going, wake up, my precious little boy, wake up. Don't go down into the delusion of samsara. You've just come in, you're fresh from the kayas and the wisdoms. Now go forth in your life. Now it's very interesting because this child has brought at the moment, I don't know how it'll be next week, but he's brought like a peace into this family, you know, from a hectic family. I can't explain to you. Everything seems much easier going in the family. And I know it's his energy, this little boy. Who knows who he really is? That, and that the older one, often the older one is jealous of the younger one, but this older one has got such a bond. He lies on the bed and he asks his mother to lie the baby in the bed next to him. And he just wants to be near this baby. It's amazing because with my other grandchildren, there was always jealousy when the new baby came. He just wants this baby near him. So I look at it. I never look at it just like these are my children or my grandchildren. I look at it like, what's happening here? What's the bond these two have to have? How come they've got going through this? What's the one got to bring for the other? Such a fascinating thing when you look at life like that. Any comments, questions, anything you want to say, please. I'm not putting on Lama Yeshe's rap because it's too hot. Are you too boiled?
Yeah,
Put on that.
That's fine.
Put that, because I'm better now. Sorry. Anyone want to say anything? You're really welcome. Argue, debate, anything. Diana, what are you thinking? I know you've always got profound thought.
Myself. I haven't got any profound thoughts today. I'm just so busy. My head is so scrambled at the moment with busyness that I'm actually battling a bit today to absorb everything.
Shame. Don't worry, and you can go back into it because there's a long gap now. But you know what I want to say to all of you? I just want to say that I know our lives are hectically busy all the time. And the thing is, sometimes you miss the essence of what you're trying to do with your life. I know you, Jade, you've always got a hectic life. And the last couple of weeks, months, you haven't had such a hectic life. And it makes such a difference because then you can you can really stir. Look at this man, David. I mean, he's now in Los Angeles after this trip to India. The time is now about 12:30 at night, and here he is, you know. I don't know when he ever goes to sleep. Maybe for an hour or two here and there. Do you want to say anything, dear David? We're so happy to have you with the girls today. Just unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Yeah. The jet lag has actually helped me attend this meeting because I slept earlier this evening and then actually woke up. So the sleep disturbance enabled me to attend, funnily enough. Regarding the aspiration prayer and the 5 wisdoms, I find that when I'm out walking or jogging or just going about my business, when I'm able to then just recite that and read it off my phone, it's not like I have to necessarily be fixed in place in order for that to happen. I just find that makes it more doable for me.
Okay, that's fine. And I'm very happy. I don't care where you do everything. I don't care whether you're helping grandkids and you sit with them and you're doing it, or whether you are walking in the morning and doing it. Just get your mind attuned. It's not for dogma. It's so that you can understand that the life we are living is not the life we are supposed to be living. There's too much busyness, there's too much attention, there's too much heartache, there's too much suffering, there's too much everything. We've really got to take ourselves, and we've got to be able to put ourselves into that higher form so that we understand things in a beautiful way. It's really important for that. And I think that's really important. So I don't
So
think
the people that are prayed for long life, and Zongsa and all of his monks and the community as such, are they reciting these particular prayers that we are?
Look, I don't know what prayers they do, but basically all the prayers in the Vajrayana are similar. They're just practiced in a different way by the different lineages and things like that. But they all have the most interesting thing. And I want to come to that. I want to come to that verse called, and then that'll answer your question beautifully, called the stages of deity yoga. Okay, there's one, it's verse 16 that has the stages of deity yoga. Now, in that, it makes you understand that no matter what practice you actually do from which lineage, it doesn't really make any difference as long as you see there's the essence, and the essence has a nature, and the nature expresses itself as unlimited compassion. And when you know that, it doesn't really matter. You can cross the river knowing that, because you know you are an expression of the essence. Everybody's an expression of the essence. Where people are is an expression of the essence. And we all are able to understand that, and that changes our whole concept. The practice is just to make you aware. So what it says, what Jigmelingpa teaches is, when you do a Vajrayana practice, like say we did Guru Rinpoche today, what you're doing, and a lot of people say, I don't want to do deity practice, I don't believe in deities, blah, blah, blah. But what you're not understanding is, this is a technique that the Buddha did not teach to the masses. He couldn't, because they wouldn't have accepted it in any way. They would never have accepted that you can be the deity. They were very happy in Hindu religion to accept that the deity was out there and that you asked the deity to help you, but they weren't okay about accepting that they were the deity. So what happened is the Buddha said, don't worry, I will send another version of myself in a few centuries. In the 8th century, that was Guru Rinpoche. And Guru Rinpoche will come specifically to give those that can the Vajrayana. Now, all of you are amongst those that can, because other people couldn't. They still need to do the path, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But those that get the Vajrayana, if you go and read the English of Guru Rinpoche practice that we did today, and you could get that from Bern, you'll see what is happening. You are Guru Rinpoche. You are in that level, and you become Guru Rinpoche. The essence has expressed itself in this amazing being, which is you. And then you can go out and do things and perform and dissolve back into the essence. That's what the Vajrayana practice is about. And so when you do it, you've really got to, I know that I used to do Tara, for instance, and I always used to go, Tara, can you help me with this? Tara, can you bring your action accomplishment? Then one day I said, well, what am I doing this practice for? I'm doing this practice so that I am Tara. I'm young, I'm beautiful, I'm quick, I've got action accomplishment. I can do whatever I want, wherever I go. I can effect a change in people. So after that, I stopped saying, Tara, please help me. I started to say, Tara in me, what should we do? I changed my prayers, because once I was Tara, and the same with white Tara, when I started doing white Tara is, green Tara's got her foot up like that. She's about to go charging on. Okay, white Tara is pure, serene, beautiful, and she heals, and she has got the wish-fulfilling wheel. And what does that mean? It means she is able to fulfill the wishes of beings and make them content and happy. Now, when you look at that, you are becoming those things in the Vajrayana, and it's really, really important that you understand that completely and totally. Okay, so when you look at the 3 levels of the copper-colored mountain, there it is. You could do any of the practices in any of the 3 of them. Now, when you come to the Dharmakaya, right at the top of the copper-colored mountain, that is stanza 13. Bern, can you put stanza 13 on, and we'll just look at it. I'm not going to rush this. I'm very happy if you ask questions. I'm very happy to go slowly, because it really is what the essence of everything is. Now, stanza 13, the Dharmakaya Samantabhadra. Atop the Sambhogakaya level. We just did the Sambhogakaya. Now we're on top of that. In the delightful pure realm of the Dharmakaya, Samantabhadra, the essential wisdom of the ground, manifesting as sensory appearances, teaches the Dharma by way of symbols to his entourage, whose gnosis is that of infinite light, and whose enlightened intent and activities are equal to his own. May we take rebirth in the glorious copper-colored mountain. Now, let me tell you in my notes. Thanks, Bern. I wrote here, exquisite stanza to be studied by all, every word. You've got to go back. I can only stimulate you. You've got to go back and you've got to read the chapters, because these wonderful people have given explanations for that verse. And that is you. Okay. And so if you use the 3rd story in summary, the near Dharmakaya, you use key terms for the great perfection. What does the great perfection mean? What does Dzogchen mean? This Dharmakaya is for the terms of the great perfection. That's what it is at the top of the thing. Take this, I'm fine. Take it for Evie, she's going to freak. Sorry. There are 5 certainties. Now, there were 5 certainties in the Sambhogakaya. There are 5 certainties, but they're not like the Sambhogakaya. Because the Sambhogakaya, you see the features, the actual features of everything you see in the Sambhogakaya. Move it towards you. In the Sambhogakaya, you see the features. But when you get to the Dharmakaya, it's Samantabhadra or Amitabha. He is When you look at Samantabhadra, he's always naked. He's always got no ornaments, no binding thoughts. He's blue, empty like the sky and unrestricted space. So why is he blue with no ornaments? Because at that level, there are no ornaments. It's just the pure blue essence of the Dharmakaya. That is what is at the Dharmakaya level. Now, he does have an entourage. He has a beautiful entourage, but those entourage is just his own mind reflecting. And he doesn't teach them with words. He just holds up symbols all the time. Like when the Buddha was teaching, if he held up a symbol, nobody knew what he was talking about. So when the Buddha was in an audience, he took a flower and he held it up and nobody knew what he wanted. So they were all going, what's he showing us the flower for? What are we supposed to know? How are we supposed to get it? Okay, because everybody thinks there's something to get. Only one monk in the 2,500 monks listening got it and just smiled. And what did the Buddha say? There's no talking. The Buddha said, Mahasya Kapha gets it. And therefore, through this flower, I'm able to transmit magnificent things to him. No words, no teaching, no nothing. When it comes to that level, there's no tangible teaching. It's just symbols. And everybody understands, because it's not everybody, it's just the reflections of your own mind. Very, very beautiful. Okay, it's blameless. He's in a cross-legged position, white, pure wisdom. They're sacred couple, Samantabhadra and Samantabhadri. And all that we have to know is that there is the essence called Norwar in Tibetan, which is empty, Rangzin, which is the nature of clarity or lucidity, and Tukje, which is unlimited capacity of the Nirmanakaya. It all comes from that. And one more sentence, which is really important. This is the most important sentence, and you can write this down because it's really important. As soon, now listen carefully and then I'll explain it to you. As soon as Samantabhadra encountered the appearance of the ground, he understood it to be his own experience. So as soon as Samantabhadra encountered the appearance of the ground, he understood it to be his own experience. Now, I want you to contemplate this in the holidays, because I want you to realize that we do not know that what is in front of us is our own experience. We have created it. When we see an angry person, we go, oh my goodness, isn't that an awful person? Oh, I can't believe I have to encounter this angry person in the parking lot. We do not recognize that that angry person is our own creation. We created that. Samantabhadra, who is the enlightened primordial Buddha, knows that everything that is around him is his own experience. Now, that is the difference between an enlightened and an unenlightened person. We are in the delusion of duality. We think that what's happening there is happening, and I'm a me, I'm an I, and I'm watching this terrible thing happening. I mean, if you look even in the wars now, in all the hatred and anger, it's all created from the collective rubbish that we have in our minds. That is the result of the collective rubbish. It's all from our own minds. Now, the enlightened being understands this, where the deluded being like us thinks it's separate and thinks that it's terrible and that you've got nothing to do with it. What do you think of that? So important. So difficult.
Mel,
Yes, please, Karen.
I want to know is why do we need the Vajrayana and why can't we just jump straight into Dzogchen, which is so simple?
Yeah.
That's
I
my
agree with
question.
you. And
I have
sorry, go on.
No, I have a really, really big problem with the Vajrayana. I'm talking
Wow.
in the visualizations. I'm
Yeah.
okay with the C syllables, but with Samanta Bhadra or even Amitabha, or I have an incredible connection, and with no problem I can see it. So I'm saying I've gone through all the, let's say, the taras and all that and the practices, and it resonates with me, but not to the extent, like when I came across Dzogchen, I can't remember the first book I read, it was, oh my goodness, it's so easy. I just like, wow, it's so easy. So that's why I'm asking you. So since then, I really, I don't have the relationship I've mentioned before as you do with Guru Rinpoche, but I have it with, let's call it Samanta Bhadra, who doesn't exist. I so understand Dzogchen. So that's why I'm asking you.
Very good question. It's a very good question. And I'll tell you something else, that I can agree with you 100% on what you're saying, except that I had a different route to you. When I came into Buddhism, it was very necessary for me to I started with Mahamudra. I did all the basic things. I did everything basic coming up. But I got the Vajrayana straight away and just took to it like a duck to water. But the day that I got an introduction by a master to Dzogchen, I was out of it, Karen. Okay, that was it. I still did it. But let me tell you something else, which is really important for you to understand. In order to get it, you have to have accumulated the merit and wisdom in order to be introduced to it, that quick path, which can be applied in one session, okay, in one lifetime you could do it. You need that merit and wisdom. And what the merit and wisdom is very important, because it means you've already gone through that level of the Vajrayana and everything. Because if you look at the copper-colored mountain, not only does it have the Nirmanakaya level where Guru Rinpoche is, the Sambhogakaya level where Padmapani or Chenrezig is, and the Dharmakaya where Samanta Bhadra or Amitabha, not only does it have it, but it has 3 paths that correspond, which I'm coming to. It's one of the verses are very, very beautiful. The verse is the stages, or no, not the stages of deity yoga. Is it in there or is it the next one? It's also very deeply in the rainbow body, the last verse, but it's also in the stages of deity yoga. Now it tells you stage 1 is all the different pathway, the pathway of accumulation, where you accumulate merit, the pathway of accumulation, whatever it is, just let me get them quickly. Accumulation, just hang on, I'll tell you now. It's easier for me to look. The path of application or preparation, the path of seeing, when you start seeing things, the path of meditation, where you have to do the meditation to understand it, and the path of no more learning when you come to the end. Now that is on the bottom level of and it can take 3 eons to accomplish, long time to accomplish. Then when you go to the next level, that's where you are combining the Vajrayana the creation, which is generation, and the perfection, which is dissolving. So dissolving, creating, dissolving. Those three is the second pathway where you come. The third pathway, which corresponds to the Dharmakaya that I've just told you about, is the Dzogchen, or great perfection, where everything is liberated by itself. It's just liberated because you understand. And that goes in one lifetime, not 3 eons. So what I'm saying to you is it is absolutely fine if you understand. A lot of people here would not be able to understand it. Therefore, I've got to teach it in the right way, in the right order. And even Jigme Lingpa, in his aspirational prayer to be born in the copper-colored mountain, he taught it level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1 of the body, level 2 of the body, level 3. It's not really level 1, level 2, level 3. It's all one thing. But he taught it like that because most of us in samsara would need to do it in stages and steps. Do you understand, Karen? And once you understand it, I'm the same as you, because in Dajjom,
No, I get it, yeah.
Yeah, in Dajjom Rinpoche's Tantra of Conscious Awareness, which I found that beautiful, Anam Topton's commentary on it, which I want to really teach. I'm taking extensive notes on it as well. In that, I mean, it's so exquisite because Dajjom Rinpoche says, he tells you, this is the path, this is the way you've got to go. Same way as when we go to school. We go to nursery school, we learn the rhymes, we learn how to be in a classroom and everything. Then we go to grade 1 to standard 5, as we called it, you know, those levels, and you learn X, Y, and Z and maths and reading and all of that kind of thing. Then you go to high school. When you finished high school, you go to university or to a career or to whatever you're going to do. And it's quite necessary to go through all those things when you're in samsara, because if we took a 5-year-old and put him in university, he wouldn't know what was going on. And so it's exactly the same here. I just want all of you to understand that Guru Rinpoche's real practice, Shane, take it for you now. His real practice was about teaching us. Leave the word Vajrayana out of it. The creation and the dissolution, starting in the essence, creating yourself in pure form, with pure mantra, with pure sound, with pure body, with pure place, and then dissolving it back into the essence. That's your most important thing to learn. And please, in the holidays, go over the Vajrayana that I've taught. Go over all the things you're not sure of. Use the 2 months. There's plenty of material. Nadine says she's put 80 sessions on the YouTube. So it's very easy to go back. If you're not sure about the Guru Rinpoche, go back and get it. If you're not sure about the Vajrayana, I did a whole series on that. If you're not sure about anything with Guru Rinpoche, go back. But the Dzogchen, the most important thing that Jigme Lingpa says in this book, in this practice, in this prayer, he says, you have to have the merit and the wisdom to be able to understand it. If you had never done Vajrayana practice in previous lives, you wouldn't be where you are now. And Dajjom Rinpoche says in the end, he gives all the stages. And then in the end, he says, but if you understand, if you've crossed the river and you understand the great perfection, then it's like all the waters come into the main ocean. That's the main ocean. And like I go every time I read that, yes, I know it's a bother doing the other, it's a bother. But for me, I've got to really know the other properly so that I can teach what I need to teach. Even when I came to the Dzogchen in this book, in this practice, I had a very short summary, but for myself, I took extensive notes. You know what I mean?
Mm. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Mm.
That's very important. David, is he still there? He might have gone. I don't see him. Okay, you wanted to say something. So let's
Yeah, I'm
do.
here.
Oh, are you there? Did you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I'm just absorbing what you're saying.
Okay, shame. I feel sorry for you because it's late. It's not to be absorbed at 1 o'clock. Even poor girls sitting and baking, turn the fan on you. Sitting and baking in the sun, yeah, they can't even concentrate. So how
Well,
can
we
you?
can.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay, she can. So let us do a little meditation, everybody, and then please ask your questions. Go back and listen, but just try and understand the privilege of what Jigme Lingpa has given us in this age. Because looking at the world like it is, it's a sorrowful world. It's really a sorrowful world. And I really want us to have another view, at least, of the world. And each and every one of you need to, when you come to your death, a lot of us are not young anymore. You know, we're really not young anymore. And when you look at it, I really maintain, Karen might be able to, some of you might be able to recognize the clear light when you leave. And that'll be absolutely perfect. You'll just be liberated into that third level. Okay. But if not, I really want all of you, when you die, to actually send away all the people at your bed who are begging you and holding you and everything. Just say, okay, goodbye, everybody. I love you all. I leave you with everything. I'm now going to the clear light. And then you are ready to go to the second bardo. And in the second bardo, it's so important that you understand that your creation, your being, an awakened being, is now in front of you, right in front of you. Now, it's bright colors. It's loud sound, but if you listen to the sound, it's exquisite, okay? It's different bodies, deities. They're not really deities. They're just the essence of your mind. And they come to you. Now, a lot of people faint, even if they saw that. It's too much for them, but you're all going to say, I know this is me. I'm seeing my awakened being. And straight away you recognize when the first Buddha comes to you and they bring you the most beautiful wisdom. Let's say it's Amitabha coming and you see the red lotus or Guru Rinpoche or any of them from this red lotus family. And it'll all have lotuses and it'll all be exquisite and it'll all be rainbow light. As Jigme Lingpa teaches when he comes to the end of this, of his verses. And when you see it, you say, that's me. That's who I am truly. And in that moment, just the moment you recognize, the moment Samantabhadra understands that the appearance of the ground is my own experience, you're free. Never again would you have to come into samsara. You can get to Devachan or the copper-colored mountain, and from there you can pursue your spiritual path and be and emanate into all the different spheres. Now remember that. If not that, boom, into the third bardo, the bardo of becoming. All the stuff that you think you've created, the angers, the karma, the imprints, is all in front of you. And it's scary. It's really scary when you see what you've created. And even then you could still escape to Devachan or the copper-colored mountain, but you're in it. And it's difficult. And right now we are in it and it's difficult. So we have to go beyond. We have to go beyond it and see what it's all about. This which I am going through at this time, which is really difficult, difficulty with this child, difficulty with this person, difficulty with that, financial difficulties, all of that. All of that is my own creation. Let me just go through it and come out knowing that I'm awakened. Once you can do that, you are free, I promise you. That's Guru Rinpoche's teaching. Doesn't matter about all the intricate detail. If you just know the three bodies and how the essence works, and that all of this karma and all of this stuff that I'm involved in, and this aging body and these wrinkles and everything is not who I am. It's just a temporary, transient, they're laughing at me, impermanent experience in this life. Let's do a meditation. Just breathe in and breathe out and say, Melanie, enough. Okay. Melanie, enough, especially if you're in the heat like us. Melanie, enough. Okay. I know that it's really, really, really difficult to get this. But if you get it, I would teach it over and over again, especially to all of you, because we are linked, and that is my role. So breathe in a deep breath and breathe out through your mouth. And as you breathe out, I want you to let be, let go. It's nothing to let go of, but we say, let go of all the things you are clutching onto. Where do I go from here? What do I do? Why is this war so terrible? Why is it getting to me? What is it? What should I do? Will my children be safe in this world? Why is this happening? All these ongoing terrible thoughts, just let them go out in the out breath and take another deep breath. And again, let it all go out. Let it all be. No matter what you're going through, however deep and dark and difficult it is, just let it be. Take many deep breaths and come to this moment. And remember where we're going with Jigmelinka's aspirational prayer. We're not in the past. The past is past. Don't hanker of it, don't keep it, don't hold on to it. Just use the memories to go forward. The future has not been made. And the now is so important right now. But I'm not hanging on to it. Maybe right now I'm sitting in a talk. It feels good. It feels natural to me. Just let it be. Don't hold on to the now. And the fourth time, no time. Allow yourself to just drift into no time, where everything is pure. And I want you to see that the three bodies are inside of us. They correspond to the three levels of the copper-colored mountain. Guru Rinpoche at the lower level, Chenrezig at the second level, and Amitabha or Samantabhadra right at the top. And that's us. We have all those beings within us. So we can choose in the Nirmanakaya to be Guru Rinpoche or any other form, to go out and serve and help and be absolutely of great use in this whole wide world. And the Sambhokakaya, we can really go there in our sleep state, in our practice, and really have the five certainties, the beautiful place, the beautiful form. And the Dharmakaya, the pure essence, And today, if you get nothing else, I want you to see the pure essence as empty, luminous, pure, clear, spacious. And it has a nature, Sambhokakaya, clarity, luminosity, awake, aware. Those two are always go together. The Sambhokakaya comes out of the Dharmakaya. It is one with it. And with that nature, Tukje, the energy, the unlimited compassion goes out to do everything that it needs to do in the world. Essence, nature, unlimited energy, pure and beautiful. That's who you are. And whatever you see in front of you, you are beginning to understand that it is my own experience, nothing more, nothing less. It's my own experience. The pure land is the vision that I have of myself, pure and clear. We are like the sky, the really beautiful blue sky with no clouds. The clouds are veils. Even when the clouds are there, the sun, the sky is still there even with clouds. The clouds are all the deluded thinking that we've had. We just let them be. We are left with the sky in essence. And that's what this whole restoration prayer is about. Absolutely pure. And the three paths can be the different regimes of meditative instruction, or the three bodies of awakening, or the three tiers of Zangdok Palri, the copper-colored mountain. They're all the same, okay? And if you can't understand them, then recognize that the ultimate nature of Padmasambhava, if you have that unwavering devotion at death, then female messages will appear and bring one to liberation, to a liberating vision in the heart of the lotus-like palace, the copper-colored mountain. It's all given on a silver platter. You know what's amazing to me, everybody? What's absolutely amazing to me is that where the verse comes, and I'm just jumping all over because I can't possibly finish what I've got for you, but I'll put it together and we can do it next year. But if you look at the Pure Land as self-vision, it's so important because the 6 elements, you know, these 6 elements that exist, earth, water, fire, air, and space. And the 6th one is actually just the essence of emptiness. They contribute to the creation and maturity of the fetus in the womb. The fetal body actually develops in the same way as the cosmos. Now, what's very interesting, what he explains is that all spiritual paths and their respective attainments are contained in the formation, development, and death of that human body. So what happens is transformations that this human body transforms. Every single part of me, the blood, the bones, the whatever I've got, except the hair and nails, those are not, those just go to dust. But all the other parts, everything that is inside me, okay, the transformations of the physical body during birth, growth, and death are experienced in this world of endurance because they serve as the basis for perfect enlightenment. So there are no external causes or pure or impure worlds to be sought elsewhere. So what Jigme Lingpa is telling us is that in this psychophysical body, with all its components, all its coarse elements, all its everything, it's all there. And when that dies, there we are in the enlightened state. I find it so fascinating, don't you? I mean, it's so amazing that everything that we are, once it's released, becomes something enlightened. If we don't see it, then we're back into the body of becoming and back into a physical incarnation again. But it's all here. Does that make sense to you? Or is it hard to imagine? Loose? Is it hard to imagine? Just unmute yourself.
I'm finding it very difficult. It's a lot to absorb. And with everything else that's going on, to try and see some sense in that and link the two, which I'm hoping can help, I'm finding still very difficult.
Yeah, I know, and I can see you are, and I can see you exhausted. But you know what? What's very important for me today, and while you've got this and while you've got these teachings, is that all of us just get totally involved in every hostage exchange, everything that happens, every family, everything that's happening in the Middle East, and everything that's happening. I mean, poor Ukraine has just been forgotten in all of this. You know, it's overridden everything, especially if you're Jewish and you're watching Israel, it's really overridden a lot of things, you know, also if you're Palestinian. But you see, this is the point. The harder the stuff in samsara, the more difficult, the more crap, the more negative emotions, the more we are absorbed in it, the more energy there is, and opportunity, as Patricia's just said, to actually enlighten ourselves. So, you know, it's a very, very difficult thing, because when you're doing your practice, you really, really, really have to take yourself out of all of that and enter into a different world. And you have to do it 1,000,001 times so that you keep on reinforcing and you don't go back and allow your mind. You know, I said to someone who really had a terrible bereavement, and I said to her this weekend, you know, she said, what do I do with all the thoughts? What must I do with them? There's so many negative thoughts, Melanie. I feel guilty about this. I feel negative about that. I'm watching the war. I'm doing this. What can I do? And I said, one sentence. Train your mind to withdraw out of it, back to the breath, back to the real enlightened being. There's no other way. So what happens is you sit down, and then this guilt comes up, or whatever's happening with the war, whatever's happening here, whatever's happening there. And what you do is you indulge your mind in it. Okay, you indulge in it. It's such a habit momentum. We can't help ourselves when negative things are happening in the world that affect us personally. We absolutely cannot control our minds. But the only thing we can do is remove that mind from the thought that we are indulging in. You know, it's like somebody eating a big piece of chocolate. They go, just, I know the sugar's bad for me. I know it's terrible. No, I don't only want one piece. I want 2 pieces. Oh, it's so delicious. I'll just have 3 or 4. It's so nice. I really do it. You indulge. You can't, none of us can take one piece of delicious chocolate and enjoy it. We swallow it, and then the next, and then the next. Now, that's what we do with negative thoughts. And it's so important because I've been watching you for a couple of weeks, you know, and I can see exactly where you are. But, you know, this teaching is not only, this teaching is specifically for the dark, deep times that we all have. It really is for that. We have to use it because otherwise there's no point. The darker the moments, the more difficult, the more negative emotions, the more energy to transform it. That's why I'm saying to you, when that fetal body is born and it's created physically, every single one feature of the elements, the blood, the bones, the whatever else we've got inside it, and even the psychophysical components, they're all enlightened components that come into the body and into the physicality. The minute you let go of that physicality, the enlightened quality is there. The minute you let go of the anger, the minute you do not indulge in that anger, the minute it becomes a mirror-like primordial wisdom. It's so important because if we can't do it when things are tough on the earth plane, then we can't ever do it. There's no point. I mean, what happens if we die and we're in a terrible situation? What happens, Diana, if we've been madly busy at work and suddenly we have an accident and suddenly we catapulted out of our physical body and we're dead? What happens to us? Are we so involved in what was going on that we miss the chances in the bardo? We can't be. We've got to have our concentration there in the enlightened being, and then we're in a position to watch what's going on. And the only way to do this, I know a lot of you say, well, it's easier said than done. But what I am saying, which is really, really true, is that it is the training of the mind. So if some of you really have great difficulty in getting absorbed in whatever negative occurrence is going, this is what you do. Oh my goodness, you use your tool of awareness. I'm involved in that too much. You bring the mind back to the breath, to everything that is in here. You bring your mind absolutely back. Then it goes out again, and you bring it back, and it goes out again. You train it so that the training is so sharp that when you're caught in a really negative situation, you can pull yourself out of it so quickly and look at it in a different way. This is so important. This teaching, some of you don't even want to go to the copper-colored mountain. I do, because that's for me where I will give the most service if I can go back after death to the copper-colored mountain. But if a lot of you are very, very happy to actually, go to Devachen, which is absolutely fine. You can go to Devachen, that's Sambhogakaya level, and that's fine. But a lot of you are happy not to do any of those things, and that is 100% fine. As long as you know who you are, that's the most important thing. And as long as you know that Pure Lands are internal, not external, and as long as you know that from the horrors of samsara, there is a route out, there is a route to enlightenment where you will see things in their pure forms. So I want to end with what's his name? Just get it now, give 1 minute. I just want to end with one quote, which is really important. Hang on a moment. Is that I want? Because it's really important that we absolutely understand it. I've got so much to teach you. I can't rush through this. I've just got to do it really, really, really. Well, I don't know where it is, but I wanted to end with that beautiful quote. Just give me 1 second and then I'll get it. Such an important quote. I can't find it. Fanny, I know it was on this particular page that I wanted, but now I can't find it when I have to. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Let's just go back to Jamkom Control, who says, this is not the quote I was looking for. Beings see the purity of the realms in which they dwell according to their own levels of inner purity, but the realms themselves are pure from the very beginning. They were always pure. We just saw them in a different way. And this stuff is so valuable because, like the verse on the deity yoga is so valuable to our practice. And I will do it next year, maybe in a bit of a different way, because it'll be a new year and everything. But I just want to say to all of you that I really wish you such a wonderful time. I'm only going to start in February. I'm going to be away in Australia for a month. So I'm off again on my journeys and travels and everything else. Okay. But I will be around if anybody really wants me, by and large, definitely for the next 3 weeks. And I just wish all of you, what I really want from you is to be able to understand who you are, just the beginning of the understanding, and pull your mind away from the negative, even with this war. When you see, Luce, when you see what's going on, pull yourself away and do the prayers that you need to do. Do some mantras, put them in there, because remember, the pure realms are seeing all the bodies as pure, hearing all the sound as mantras, and the words, the wisdom, they're not these negative thoughts. It's just pure essence. So let's dedicate for everybody, and for the wars, and for the hostages, and for the Palestinians, and for Hamas to get out of their deluded minds. And let's dedicate for all sentient beings who are suffering, and for all of you over this period we dedicate. And through this merit, may we achieve all-seeing Buddhahood, and thereafter, once all harmful enemies have been defeated, may all beings be liberated from the ocean of existence, stirred by the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Sonamdiye tamche zipane topne nepe dranam pamshene jegana chi balap tropaye sipe sole doa dro warsho.